Have you ever thought, what is all this talk about paddles? Greenland paddles here, Euro paddles there, and what the it is a wing paddle? Today we're gonna figure it out and talk a little bit more about what to use when and where. So come along. Emil here from Kayak and SUP here in cold Sweden, Stockholm. It's ice behind me on the water, so I figured why not do a video about paddles today. So we're gonna start with the original one, the Greenland paddle. The Greenland paddle originates from Greenland and it's the original kayak paddle. As the Inuit were hunting seals, they invented the kayak, the sea kayak as we know it today, and used it to hunt for seals. And then they need to have some paddles to paddle with, and then they picked driftwood and made these thin paddles with them. Now the one I have here is a composite one. Nowadays you can get your Greenland paddle in composite, or you can get it in wood, or you can make your own one for just a few bucks. So you can make a paddle really cheap, but with some labor obviously. Greenland paddles are really smooth on your shoulders, and the blades are very long but quite narrow, as you see, which means you need to get a bigger part of the blade down into the water. And when paddling with a Greenland paddle, you usually get your fetch, get the blade in, and then you get more and more of the blade in the longer you go. So the acceleration or the difference in force from up from the water and putting it into the water goes much smoother. So the transition is more like a smoother sinus curve, and that differs from these other kayak paddles where you get the full blade in and then you do your push. So you do your fetch and then you do your move in the water to make yourself go forward. So that's usually something that the people using the Greenland paddle likes. And they like that they have a paddle that goes smoother in the water and that protects your shoulders and makes the paddle a little bit smoother. You usually need to have a little bit higher cadence to move as fast with a Greenland paddle as you do with a Euro or wing paddle, but they work just as good. The technique is a little bit different, but it's quite similar to the Euro paddle with all the technical strokes. So I usually have a Greenland paddle as my backup paddle because it's nice to change between the Euro paddle, that's my standard paddle, and the Greenland paddle because I use some different muscles and it's a little bit different. So if you're out on a longer tour, it can be nice to have a Greenland paddle. And I really, I would recommend you to try it out. It's a different thing, but it's quite fun. You can really get it super smooth in the water, and that's nice. One more thing on the Greenland paddle, it's the only paddle where you actually are allowed to move your hands. So you can really get a big force here if you want to do a turn, or people who practice their rolls, their kayak rolls, they usually start with a Greenland paddle because then you can get this full swing to get yourself up in an easier way. On the other paddles, the rule is to hold the paddle as you do all the time. You don't move your hands around. But on this one, you can. So the next one is the Euro paddle. The Euro paddle is the most common one, I would definitely say. So if you are at a rental, you will most likely find a Euro paddle. They come in all the types of different materials. They come in everything from wood to composite and carbon fiber as this one. Obviously, you can go and pay a huge amount of money, as I've done with this one, to get a carbon fiber ultralight paddle, or you can get a more like plastic one or nylon paddle. That's it's a little bit heavier, but it works just as well. So it depends on how much you're gonna paddle and how much you use it. I usually recommend, even before you buy a kayak, to buy your own paddle, because it's not as big of a purchase, but it's nice to have your own paddle when you're out kayaking, and it's nice to have a paddle that is lighter. I've been paddling with this one for a year now, and I really like it. It's so light and nice to paddle with. So the Euro paddles, they have a bigger blade. It can be flat. This one is a little bit, has a small shape. It's almost looks like a spoon, so you can spoon the water. They work perfect for all the different techniques. You can use it to paddle forward. You can use it to do different rudders with, or different types of technical strokes. And I would use my Euro paddle, or the main places to use the Euro paddle, I would say, is if you paddle whitewater, if you paddle in surf, you would definitely want a paddle with a Euro blade. The thing with a bigger blade is that you can get more force out of every paddle stroke, and that's something that you need in moving water and more dynamic water, and that's something that you won't really get with the Greenland paddle. Then the Euro paddle, it is an all-round paddle. It works okay for everything, but it's not perfect anywhere, I would say. And they do come with different sizes on the blade, so you have bigger blades or more narrow, longer blades. The more narrow, longer blades usually gives you a lower point for paddling, so more for low-angled paddling and long-distance paddling, more closer to the Greenland paddle. Or you can get these bigger blades that usually gives or works better with the higher angle paddling, where you might be a bit more aggressive in your paddle strokes, so in moving water, surf, tide races, or whitewater. But all in all, the Euro paddles are all around. It's a great thing to start with for sea kayakers, at least. Yeah, it's my main choice of paddle, so that's what I go for. Looking at this last type, they're called a wing paddle, and that is due to the blade shape. It's shaped as a wing, and the wing moves or works in a way that it can only push water one way. So when I get this blade down into the water, it will fetch the water and push all the water this way. So when I put this one into the water, my paddle will start moving this way. And the top part here looks like a wing. And a wing on an airplane is shaped in the way that when it moves forward against the wind, then it will create a lift motion. So it will actually lift up. So the full design of a wing paddle is so when you get it into the water and start moving it this way, it will also lift forward. Looking at your paddle technique, and especially your forward paddling technique, you want to have a positive to a neutral angle when paddling forward. So you don't want your paddle to get behind you, because all the energy you put in here, you won't get back. So it's just bad energy back there. So you want to have the paddle in front of you. And by having a paddle that lifts up, you can actually have a longer paddle stroke without getting in a negative angle. So that's the full reason of the wing paddle. This is the one that people that compete in sprint kayaking and things like that, the really speedy ones, they use the wing paddle. And when the wing paddle was invented, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think the times lessened by 40% or something. So people got so much faster when they started to use the wing paddle. So it's an amazing invention for kayaking if you want to have speed. What you don't get with a wing paddle is a paddle that's easy to do all these technical strokes. So it's quite hard to do the different types of rudders or moving sideways with the sculling, as the blade only want to push water one way. It's a little bit different and a bit harder to do all these different technical strokes. So the wing paddle is mostly for moving forward. So here in Sweden nowadays, where we do quite a lot of touring kayaking out in the archipelagos, I've seen more and more people moving over to these types of wing paddles as well. With the smaller blades, the wing paddles can come in quite big blades, and that's when you really can get the speed if you are strong enough, because it's always that as well. getting a big paddle with a big blade, you also need to have the strength to use it. I don't know if I can use it. I'm more towards these ones that's a little bit smaller, but you get you can have a little bit higher cadence instead, and that's better for me. But in Sweden, people are moving over more and more towards wing paddles when they just want to cover distances. So maybe put a rudder back on your sea kayak so you can steer with your rudder and you can cover distances with a wing paddle. That's something that people start to do. However, I'm more the type of paddle that likes doing my turns and working with my body and my full technique, so I seldom use the wing paddle. I like paddling without the rudder and using the skeg as well instead, but I do see the point of the wing paddle as well in sea kayaking or touring kayaking. So these are the 3 different types of paddles out there. All of them come in different materials and things like that, and if I am to advise something, there is follow your budget, try the paddle before you buy it, and ask around, ask your friends, ask your retailers what they think and how they can help you in the best way. And hey, give me a comment and I'll try to help you as well. I can give advice as well, so don't be afraid. I'm happy to help. If you have any comments or any other questions, please leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe for more kayaking content. So thanks for today and see you next time.